Bigger than life. Rick Wakeman.
You are what you are. You're what God made you, and that's the be all and end all. All artists have to live a Jekyll and Hyde existence. It's a fact of life. People think what they want to think. Some people think that some people treat the band like gods. Other people treat them like humans. I don't care as long as it's sort of as long as we mean something to people. You know, then if we make some people happy, that's great. That's basically all I'm interested in.
Backstage Special. Howdy, I'm Jimmy Roach. Tonight, we'll have part 2 of the Backstage Special with Yes. Rick Wakeman is the keyboard player with Yes, and also one of the most entertaining performers to talk with. Rick has an opinion on most everything, but he's careful not to preach to his audience.
No, I have strong political views, I have strong ethical views, but I do not let them interfere in my music. I'm not, going back to what I was saying before, I'm not up there to preach. I'm up there to entertain, and for me to enjoy myself, and for the people who come on to enjoy themselves, so we all become one. I'm not a preacher. I have strong views, and I'll sort of relate my views in where I think is the right place, which is in like the local bar or the local bowling alley or the local pool hall or whatever, where everybody gets around and talks. I'm not on stage where you've got a forced audience. A forced audience can get wrong ideas. So I'm not a preacher, and on those sort of grounds. You see, a lot of the time, I hate to say this about musicians, but they suffer very dangerously from the little knowledge being a dangerous thing, and so they'll read a bit in the newspapers, the same as everybody else, about the nuclear plant or whatever, and then suddenly overnight they'll be an authority. And that's dangerous. You know, you can't go out and preach about something you don't really know or understand about. If, for example, just going on the nuclear thing, if there was a musician who'd lived on 3 Mile Island all his life, who'd studied nuclear plants, nuclear energy, and the nuclear program that the United States had going, plus the world nuclear program, if he wanted to say something then yeah, I'd say fine. You know, but otherwise it's keep your views to the bar, the pool hall, or whatever, you know. My parents helped me very much with my musical education, but they sent me to college, and I finished at college, and I went to see my dad, and he said, "What are you going to do? You're going to be a teacher, music teacher, or or a concert pianist now? You've got your degree, I know what you're going to do." And I said, "I'm going to join a rock and roll band." He did freak a little, but they stuck by me. They're always watching carefully in the shadows, but they said, "You're on your own. You know, you have and if everything had gone drastically wrong for me, they would have helped out. In fact, in the early years, they did help me out a bit. They did it right, I think. At the time, I didn't think they did, but they did it right. They sort of said, well, that's not what we really think you should do, but we'll support you from the background, you know, and we're always there, sort of touch. I mean, now they're really pleased, you know, they're smashing people.
It's Parallels from the Yes album Going for the One, and release off of the latest record, Tomato.
Jimmy Roach will be back with the special right after this.
Bigger than the intense emotion that music can create.
Given the right moment, music must give you feelings, it must give you emotions. I mean, I don't, for example, I don't cry at films, but I can cry over music. I can also get very excited and happy about music. I think music is undoubtedly another language. Where it originates from, God only knows. But it's something that can be misused as much as any other thing can be misused. Like the spoken word, the human voice. Sometimes the things we say, we misuse what we say. You can hurt people. I don't believe in hurting people. I never have done, either by word of mouth or by violence or whatever. I know sometimes it's necessary, both extremes. But I'm to use the sort of the words of the good old English police force when I used to live in England. They used to say prevention is, they're there for crime prevention, not for for catching people afterwards. I think everything can be prevented if only people would think about it beforehand. There is no art without discipline, which is why freeform has been such a disaster in the 20th century. It's freeform in art, in painting, freeform in sculpture, and freeform in music has not accomplished astonishing successes by any means. It's been a bit of a disaster. The freeform that has sort of captured imagination is freeform with a bit of discipline that has relationships with something. Otherwise, you can put a group of monkeys on a stage, you give a group of monkeys a paint pot. Sometimes, I think in art, people get conned. You could get a great painter who was. You took Rembrandt even ages ago, who was a classic painter. If he'd have got a piece of canvas and just dabbed a piece of red paint on it, that would sell now for thousands or millions or whatever because of his name. So you sometimes get into the dangerous zone of art sells because of the performer or the artist, and not for its musical content or its artistic content. And that's quite a dangerous situation.
From the 1971 American, a Paul Simon song from the Yes Collection record called Yesterdays.
We'll be back in a moment with Jimmy Roach and the special.
Have come to avoid reading reviews entirely. Rick Wakeman.
Everybody says they don't care about critics, but everybody reads them, and they do hurt sometimes. They can make you feel very elated, they make you feel really good. Everybody likes to be told, as well as being told that you're rotten sometimes, everybody likes to be told, yeah, you did well. The best analogy I can make is if somebody writes a really good essay with, say, 3,000 words, and the only comment you get from the teacher is, that word's wrong, and not the rest of it's very good or whatever, and then you're really down. But if the teacher says, yeah, it was really very good, hey, but that word's wrong there, try and put that right, the chances are the kid will put it right, rather than the next time round a lousy essay.
Starship Trooper from the third Yes album.
We'll be back in a moment with Jimmy Roach and the special.
Rick Wakeman has always gone his own way. 2 years after leaving the Strawbs to join Yes, he felt it was time to go solo. So he did. The stage productions for his solo concerts have been some of the most extravagant in musical history. Then after a few years on his own, Rick decided it was time to come back to Yes. We asked him what he would change if he could start all over again.
Basically, I'd do exactly the same. Even all the wrong things that I did, I'd do again. I wouldn't change them. The only thing, if I could change, sometimes unwittingly or unknowingly, you hurt people. Either in the industry or family-wise. Parents, wives, children, or whatever. The only thing I'd like to change, I'd like to wipe out the hurt that I didn't do deliberately, but unwittingly, came from things that I did. Apart from that, I'd do everything else again.